Hi, and welcome to another adventure with Doug in glass. What we're going to do today is have a look at a lot of different choices to see what I can come up with for, I think we'll do 3 smaller tabletop type totems. Now, if you're new to the channel, you might wonder, what the heck is he talking about? Well, what I do is take thrifted glass and recombine it into some interesting glass sculptures. I've been able to do tabletop sculptures with light inside them, some bird baths, some outdoor garden fountains that have solar fountains in them, solar lights in them. I've done hanging totems, I've done some glass flowers, a lot of different things. Kind of just depends on the pieces that I can find in the thrift shops. So I'm hoping that you can get a little inspiration, maybe learn a few things from my videos, and create some of your own. If you're using thrifted glass, you might not even spend as much as $10 to $12 on all the pieces that you might craft into one. So that, you know, you're really doing a rather inexpensive hobby, and you might be able to come up with something that really looks rather unique and special. So we're going to kind of discuss some of that. I'm going to take the camera and kind of pan over some of this. What I've done is I've organized some of my pieces according to color choices and combinations of things that I think might work. So let's have a look at the overview, and then I'll show you the 2 or 3 pieces I think we'll work on today. Okay, so what do we have that's possible? I have some things in the blue range over here that I think one of these days I'm going to come up with something with those. I already did something with that kind of starfish looking blue one. I found a second one, so I might use that at one of these junctures. I've got some purple that I've been trying to work into something, not quite sure yet. I have some bowls that I'm really kind of excited about. Bowls like these, because while they are kind of a neat cut glass bowl, they also have a lot of potential for being a base. I've got another couple of pieces here, sort of a star-shaped looking glass piece, some candle holders, a wine glass, some other blue-green pieces that are in the same family. I've got some yellows and browns over here, so I'm not quite sure how all this is going to go together. I have to take a minute to kind of apologize. I'm getting some strange interference with my LED lighting. It has a frequency that's a little different from the filming frequency, and I'm trying to adjust for that. You'll see kind of gray bars float through the screen, and I apologize for that. I'm really trying to work on my lighting a little better. Bothers me as much as it probably bothers you. Welcome back to Adventures in Glass with Doug. I showed you moments ago that I've got quite an inventory of glass to work with in terms of small pieces. And I sort of had them grouped in different colors just so I could kind of look and see what would go together. So I've kind of made a selection of some things I think will work today for some tabletop pieces. And again, if you are new to the channel, we really just use 2 things to make all of this happen. Thrifted glass and the adhesive, which people ask me about many times. It is 100% silicone, and you should be able to find these at any of your hardware stores. But if you can't, check in the description below this video. There is a source of that and a number of other things that I use that you can purchase, and that should make it easier on you. Okay, so we use 100% silicone, we let it dry, and then you're good to go. I've really had no problem with this as an adhesive. Okay, so what are we going to put together today? Let's start with this piece. As I mentioned yesterday, this is a very, very heavy bowl. I believe it's cut glass, It does have some chips in it, which is no doubt why it was at the thrift shop. But it is a very heavy piece that'll do really well for the base. And I have a textured plate that I'm going to put on there, so let's get started with that. One of the tricks that I've used in the past to clean out inside a bottle that doesn't have a really easy access through the neck is to get some sand or some small grit to put in there and run that around to agitate it a bit. I may have to do that with that one. So we're going to let this just sit till I can get this clean and dry. Not a problem. Another piece I was talking about was this combination, which I was going to be very happy with, but I looked a little closer in my inventory and found that I had this piece, which was definitely yellow. So I think we're gonna go with sunshine here today and put this piece up. Okay, then if we're going to go with this, our third piece and I've debated this because it seems a little simple. The third piece may well be this. There's just something about it. I mean, it is very simple, but I like the combination that the two of these make. You could argue that, well, wait a minute, let's do something this way. Okay, show of hands, did you agree that this is the one we should do? Okay. Okay, so we've got, this one is in progress. This one is done until I change my mind about it and add something else. And I've got to finish getting this clean and dry. And we'll be back for the final results. Thank you. What I was starting to tell you was, if you can take something like some sand and put it in a vase or a jar that you can't quite get clean inside, with a little bit of water, that should help you get some abrasion in there in a way that should help take out some grit. No guarantees, but years ago I found something of an old kind of dump spot back in the woods, the edge of a field. This was up in New Jersey, and it had been a spot where a lot of old medicine bottles and glass bottles had been dumped, and they had worked their way into the dirt and had tree roots and stuff in them, but a lot of them had deposits of dirt and grime and a little bit of sediment inside them, and I couldn't figure out how to clean them. And then finally I figured, well, wait a minute, if I can just put some grit in there and spin it around enough, that would help clean it up. All right, you don't need to watch me do this, but I'm gonna have to rinse this out, probably put it in the sun, and it's a very hot, sunny day today, so I'll put it in the sun and get that to dry out so I can finish that piece. So we're working on trying to get that clean. Kind of bugs me when I don't have a nice clean piece of glass. Let's go back to this one, which by now is starting to dry up and be relatively sturdy and stable. I've got two more pieces I want to add to that. I'm going to put this glass plate there and this shot glass on top for a little clown hat look. We'll do the same thing with this. The last piece is the one that's going to mean the most. I really need it to be as balanced and centered as possible. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't, and it really just depends on how they were manufactured. It's not perfect, but I think for our purposes it's absolutely fine. So that one's pretty much done, needs to dry. It's really cool. We'll put it over here. All right. And I think what I've changed my mind a lot. What I think I'm going to do on this, I've got one of my marbles. I think I'm going to put that on top, but I don't know if I'm going to leave it clear. I might take some of my alcohol inks and give it a color, maybe some gold. Have some fun with it. So we'll be back to finish up these projects. This is this one needs this marble. This one needs the vase to be clean and dry. I have actually, speaking of marbles, I've got another marble that I'm going to use, I think, on the top of that. When that's all done, I might add some more blue color to that. There. And we'll be back with this totally unscripted and crazy video today. Thanks. I'd say it's time to wrap up these designs. Finally, I got this piece cleaned out and dried. Sat it out in the sun for most of the day, so it finally dried out inside. And it's much cleaner and clearer inside thanks to the little method I use the sand with. You know, I was talking about cleaning some medicine bottles, and I didn't realize I still had a few. These are what I was talking about, and many of them had a lot of dirt and sand, and they still have some stuff in them, but I was able to clean them out using sand and water the way I showed you on this. So just thought I'd show you those. Okay, I also got my 2 marbles colored up a little bit more, so we're going to work on those too. As a matter of fact, maybe I ought to just go ahead and do this one first, since all I'm going to do is put that little marble on top. I've got some ideas of where you can get these marbles, but as I have repeated in other videos, I don't know where I managed to get these larger ones. Seems to me I got them at Hobby Lobby, or maybe it was Michael's or Joann's, but somehow I came up with those that were a little larger. These appear to be smaller, but they work. Okay, we'll leave that one there. This has a couple of elements. We're going to put some silicone here, set it in center. Looks like it'll fit just fine. And for this I had some blue and silver alcohol ink that looked like it would be fun. Okay. That piece is finished also. So we have a couple of designs we did today. Our yellow piece, this blue piece, and this smaller tabletop flower burst, if you will. I think they all worked out really nice. But until our next adventure, happy thrifting. Hope you're giving it a try yourself. Don't worry. You can't really make a mistake. Just give it a try. Thanks for watching.